If it involves serial killers, psychopaths, and unsolved true crime, count me in. Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 3 of Buzz on the Case, a true crime series. Getting right into, well, first things first, I'm going to drop the link below with the details of this case where you can find the documentary where I got all of my, information about it. I'm going to drop it in the link below. So back in 2011, over a span of 12 years, 11 women were murdered by this man, Anthony Sowell. Anthony Sowell, back in 2011, back in 2009, he was arrested for murdering 11 women in Cleveland. He was sentenced to death in 2011. When they went onto the property, well, first things first, they spoke to one of the retired detectives that was on the case. He was a part of sex crimes, and when he got the case, it involved a young lady who was a rape victim and had filed a complaint against him, and they were finally getting to her case. She let the detectives know that she had left personal, effects over there. She had left her underwear on his dresser at his house. So that was the proof that, that what she was saying had happened to her. And in this particular instance, they looked into it. And when they got there, the police went inside and were immediately tripping over bodies, stumbling over skulls and skeleton and feces and all kind of mess. And so they had to back up out of there. And now we got to bring CSU in. We got to bring everybody in to unravel all of what's going on. But let's back it up a little bit. Sowell lived in the house. And he also lived in the house at the time. So he's living amongst all of that. His MO was to invite these women to his home, and he would attack them. Invite them over to either, do drugs, because all of the women were prostitutes and or drug addicts, or just drug addicts, and would prostitute themselves, for the drugs. But whatever the case may be, that's neither here nor there. He preyed on that demographic of people because they're the ones that are going to go, unnoticed. Nobody's going to care that they're missing. But people did care. People cared. And it's terrible that you can't trust people like that. You shouldn't be. But yeah, those women trusted to, chill. They was going to go over there. It's the equivalent to nowadays finding yourself in a situation with somebody like, okay, y'all want to get up? We're going to smoke a blunt. You want to match? Okay, that seems cool enough. That seems okay. You get over there and he a crazy person. Anyway, they showed a little bit of his clip at a little bit of his sentencing, and there was a clip of him, and he had something to say. He had this to say. Only thing I can say is I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry. This is not typical of me. I'm sorry. And that was that. I don't know if that's remorse or not, sorry he got caught or what, but don't get to blaming everything and everybody else. Don't get to saying, oh, it's just not like me. Something must have come over me. No. That's not even gonna fly with the rest of us. And it didn't fly with a jury. But anyway, like I said, he moved to East Cleveland, back in the 50s. And he lived in the suburbs, of course, until crack hit the streets, until gangs hit the streets and all kind of gun violence, all that kind of stuff. But mainly crack hitting the streets is what, brought their whole neighborhood down, and people moved out, projects rolled on in. And his circumstances were just, bleak, I guess I should say. And of course, so that's when he went into the military and moved back out in 85. And in 89, he met a woman on the streets named Melvette Sockwell. He took her to his house, raped and tortured her. And her account was that, and luckily this woman survived. Her account, and she was able to testify as well. She said that she wanted to use his phone while she was there, and he wouldn't let her use the phone, nor would he let her leave. He raped and tortured her for hours on end. The only thing that she could do was plead the blood of Jesus, and she just pled the blood of Jesus, until that man fell asleep, which was her saving grace, because after that, she was able to get out and, get some help. He was arrested for that, and they gave him a plea deal. So dropped the charges to attempted rape, even though she was raped. They gave him a plea deal, and he served 15 years for that. And, once he was released, he had to be a registered sex offender. But they never they never put his DNA into the system. First mistake. Well, excuse me, I should say that's the first first sign of negligence, as far as the police department goes, because that's flawed. Then once he got back out and he's back home, women in the neighborhood just start missing. Just start going missing. Victim number 1 in 2007, Crystal Dozier. She was reported missing by her family. Tishauna Culver, June 2008. Lashanda Long, August 2008. And with this, of course, because he's not doing anything or disposing the bodies that he's, accumulating, he, now there's a smell in the neighborhood. The neighborhood stink. Everything smells like decaying flesh. So I don't know how he explained that away, but they weren't able to pinpoint where the rancid smell was coming from. So they had the health department. They came out and they checked things out, and they suspected a meat market that was in the same area. And of course they drugged them through the ringer, and those people aren't even involved in nothing. Like I'm sure they lost business, all of that, which they did, because people are, thinking y'all got the bad meat over there, because it's stinking up the entire block. In September 2008, he met Vanessa Gay on the street corner. She's also a survivor, thank God. She was able to testify at his trial, and she went for help after being raped and tortured by him, and nobody helped her. Nobody out in the streets, not the police. She couldn't get no help from nobody, because of course, why are we believing the beat up, bruised crackhead? You a crackhead. They don't believe the crackheads. They don't listen or take serious. They don't take those type of people serious. People who are addicts, and that's unfair, because their lives matter too. Her account of everything that happened to her should be enough to, move anybody to action. But no, they didn't care, because she's black, and then she's a crackhead. The two don't go to, and a prostitute? Oh no, they really don't care about your case. They really just, it goes through one end out the other. If that, they don't care. Nobody writes anything down. Nobody's gonna look into nothing, because you are other. In October 2008, Michelle Mason. Tonia Carmichael, November 2008. Still nothing is being done, but all of these women are going missing. In December 2008, he approached Gladys Wade at a gas station, and he attacked her and drug her into, I guess like an abandoned apartment building in the vestibule area, and was going to try to rape her on the stairs, but she fought her way off of him. and was able to, she ran to a restaurant first. They put her out and didn't help. Then she flagged down a patrol car, and those 2 police officers went and, of course, did a visit at Anthony Sowell's house to see what was up. He was arrested on the spot, and her case was sent straight to sex crimes. And the lead detective, Georgia Hussein, I meant to write down her name purposely because she ain't shit. But anyway, Georgia Hussein was in charge. She was in charge of the case. And the only thing she took to the prosecution was the attempted robbery. Not the rape, not the attempted rape or none of that. Just attempted robbery. So she's already lessening his charges before he can even be brought to trial. Which in turn means nothing, because once she does that, they free him and let him out to kill and rape more women. And now there's a civil suit. Well, at the time that they did the documentary, there was a civil suit going on with that woman and the city, because y'all got it all the way messed up. And I hope sis got her coin. I hope sis got some justice. And because I would want that lady's job, pension, all of that. Anyway, Kim Yvette Smith, January 2009. Nancy Cobbs, April 2009. Amelia Hunter, spring 2009. Janice Webb, June 2009. Telacia Fortson, June 2009. Continue. Diane Turner, September 2009. And in April 2009, another rape was reported, but the kit was never tested, so that fell by the wayside. And in September 2009, the sheriff department did a routine sex offender check on the man and found nothing. So if it stink outside, I can't even imagine what the smell was inside, and how a sheriff department, they did no check. Them people ain't did no check. I'm sure that the only thing that they did was when they knocked on his door. And when he didn't answer, they went on about their business and wrote in their report that they spoke to him, saw him, checked things out, gave him a drug test. I'm sure they, doctored up all the paperwork, because they couldn't have gone inside. They could not have gone inside and come out of there without arresting him. I'm upset with that whole police department and these black folk on the police department, which pisses me off more, because he ain't talked to nobody white. All of these black men that don't care about the black woman who is prostituting, for her drug habit. That same day that the police was there, he invited Latundra Billips over for a drink. She survived as well, and she testified that he raped her and strangled her. And she went to the police and told them that she left her underwear. So she's the one that left her underwear there. This is when they didn't do nothing with her case for a few months. The patrolmen did go out. They did not go out and do a search. They knew what happened, but they didn't go and check it out. They didn't go and do anything. They just, I guess, reported it. And then her case was moved over to sex crimes, where it sat for months. October 20th, 2009, Shawn Morris jumped out of the second story window of Anthony Sowell's apartment, and she was completely naked. And a neighbor who worked at, he had a barbershop across the street from Anthony's home. But he saw the whole thing happen. He saw the woman jump out the window. He saw Anthony Sowell, come out of the house, and he's naked too. And so the guy is like, y'all okay? What's going on? Anthony says, oh, man, we good. This is my girl. This is my girlfriend. This is my woman. We was smashing and she fell out the window. The man, I guess, he didn't take his word for it, because he called the police. And once the police got there, they took both she and Anthony to the hospital where Anthony dropped her off and kept on rolling. Nobody questioned him. Nobody, talked to him about nothing. He was, free to do it some more. But lucky for her, she was able to get to the hospital. He found out her room number and was blowing her up, calling her, threatening her life, and all of this, that, and the third. So, of course, when sex crimes comes to her, because she was she was unconscious for a couple of days. When sex crimes comes to her to get her, side of the story, she recants everything. And she goes along with what his story was, which was they were having sex up there, I guess near the window, and she fell out. Anyway, more than a month later after that, Latundra Billips, she reported her case to the police. And sex crimes contacts her, and they go and get a fresh warrant. And this is Latundra Billips was the one who left her underwear. They, revisited her case, some fresh eyes on it. And she, tells them again, about her underwear being left over there and all this, that, and the third. These people finally get a fresh warrant to go over there. And now this is when everything hits the fan. And this is when they find all the bodies everywhere. And when I say they were everywhere, under the stairs, just got makeshift dirt covering up bags and trash bags of body parts. He had a woman's skull in a bucket. He feces everywhere. Bodies were everywhere. And I just now they have torn down that home and all of the businesses and people that lived around it, abandoned. Nobody is there anymore, pretty much. The store owner that was blamed for, the bad smell, they spoke with him. And, he said, well, he used to come in the store all the time smelling real foul. He would always get big, large trash bags, or, he asked for weird type of stuff. Which probably isn't alarming, but now in hindsight, it's like, that's why he wanted them big trash bags. That's why he wanted that gas can. That's why he wanted, whatever it is he was going to the store to get. But he was sentenced in 2011 to death. Hallelujah. And he's still on death row where he belongs. They wanted to. I appreciate the documentary, and I really want y'all all to watch it, because towards the end of it, once we unravel everything, we have to dive into the systemic racism and the fact that played a huge role in why all of those murders were left, just out there. Nobody cared. And it's mostly, I'm not even going to say partly, it's because they were black women. Even if they weren't addicts or prostitutes, them being black alone, I'm sure would deter, certain individuals from making a move. Because, I guess in their mind, they asked for it. I mean, that's what they say. Well, what you go over there for? You asked for it. You got to be careful. You can't just be going and, and hanging out with strangers, which is true. But that doesn't give somebody the right to take my life because I, let my guard down, and I might be naive enough to go and, hang around some stranger just because you promised me a little bump. And that's all it was. Those women were promised drugs. Who knows? Some of the women probably went for a meal. You never know. But once they got there, they were met with a horrible monster. So we glad the man on death row. And I don't know when they gonna, execute the man. I didn't get into all of that, but he can sit on death row. He can sit on death row for as long as, actually, They put him in general population so the folks can get to him. That was it for that case, guys. The first time I saw it, because I had to rewatch it so that I could, take notes. But the first time that I saw it, I was a wreck. I mean, crying, okay? Mainly because those women that survived, they had guilt going on, because it's like if somebody had listened to me, maybe all of this wouldn't have happened. Or why is it that I'm here and these women are not? So I'm sure life, picking yourself back up after that, I'm sure has not been easy. The women that did survive, most of them have changed their lives. Well, all of them, the women that survived, I think it was only like 3 of them. They have since gone on, they're in the church, they're, working good jobs. Some of them went back to school. So it was a life changer for real, for the better for them. But it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that police department stood by idly and let 11 women get murdered when 2 or 3 women, let them know this man specifically raped me. This man, pointed him out. They know he's a registered sex offender. All of these things. If 3 women come to you and say, hey, the registered sex offender in the neighborhood is still raping women, y'all don't care? Y'all be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with another one next week. Peace and light.